What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the basement. We got an awesome interview today with Chris and Casey, the creators of Pursuit of Plastic. I got plenty of toys behind me, so I know this is perfect for me, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Salud.
Thank you for having us on. Absolutely.
So, Pursuit of Plastic, this is your love letter to every 80s toy imaginable, basically. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's something to capture that feeling of being in front of the TV on Saturday morning. You got your bowl of sugary cereal, and you're just eating, and you're watching these cartoons that we grew up with. So your He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, all that. Yes, exactly. All that stuff that you have behind you. Pursuit of Plastic is a real love letter to that, and to capture that nostalgic feeling. And even if it's somebody who's younger than us, you can still get that feeling of being a kid again. And that's what it's for everybody. It's a family-friendly book.
Some people who are younger than us, they still had the benefit of seeing some of our old cartoons with like Cartoon Network and stuff. So yeah, they can definitely relate to this, even though a lot of their cartoons just kind of went downhill right about the mid-90s. And I think the problem was they realized that, let's make cartoons funny again. And I mean, we solved problems with red and blue lasers and fists. That was it. That was the 80s. That's how things work.
That's right. All those PSAs, all the learning lessons. I mean, There's a reason why we came out so good. It's because of those
now
cartoons.
We know.
That's it. And knowledge is, that's right.
That's it. Exactly. 100%.
So who are the main characters in this book, and what are they up to?
Chris?
I will, let me address that one. So we've made, we kind of wrote ourselves into this story, honestly. Yeah, write what you know. And so we decided to take all of our love of everything geekly from toys and then put it all into a comic. And so we made this cosmic adventure with Chris and Casey and their trusty robot, Arwen. So there's 3 main characters. And so Chris has been missing for some years, and you'll find out why. And Casey is living the life that he's been left behind to run the collectible store on Earth with Arwen, who is always annoying him to no end. But when Chris returns, the adventure begins, and you'll see that in this first issue.
So do you have the issue finished and now you're just working on publishing, or is it not complete yet?
So yeah, first issue's done. Chris and I wrote too much, so we actually have the second issue in the works.
Nice.
But we kind of have a Bible of where it's gonna go. But as you know, with Kickstarters, they can be a multi-headed Hydra. Like you gotta like see how it goes out there and what the community is responding to. But so far we're only 4 days in, and we're doing really well. So I would say we're on the right trajectory to keep this comic going. Yeah.
So as I was reading the pitch, Casey, you're left with the store. Chris, your character is gone somewhere through a portal. Now he returns on his own, of his own accord. I was actually under the wrong impression that Casey had to go looking for him.
No,
but
he's pretty much
know where he is.
No, we can share that a little bit. Casey's kind of like given up that his friend's gone. He has no idea what's going on, so he's in that daily grind, getting up, as you can see in the artwork that by R.J. Silvers. We provided the first couple pages, plus a little bit of a backstory of what happened to Chris. So if anyone wants to take a look at those, we do have those pages done and on the Kickstarter page. But yeah, Chris finds this alien. It's very much of a Green Lantern homage, but in his hand are one of those little dome things you used to get from the machines for $0.25. So we wanted to do that with whatever the alien has inside it that gives him his toy hunting powers, his galactic toy hunting powers. So that kind of developed into a 5-year quest for him, which we have a little bit of a backstory plan for that, maybe a one-shot, but that those are things to come. But Casey is waiting. He's running the store. Chris comes back suddenly, and that's like I said, that's where the adventure begins.
I was a big fan of those little egg things that you're talking about. And actually, at the grocery store, I used to go shopping with my grandmother. My grandmother was the influence for everything you see behind you. She got me into comics, and she always encouraged my love of art and toys and whatever. Just be a kid, have fun. And we would stop at the grocery store on the way home, and they had a couple of the little turning quarter machines and everything.
Yeah.
You get a little egg and a figure or whatever. But there was one and this was old. This had to be from like the 60s, 70s, the very latest. It was a chicken. And the chicken would like cluck and flutter its feathers, and then it would lay an egg. And you would get the toy out of the egg. It's one of my most distinct memories of my childhood. So are you saying that Chris gets different powers depending on what the thing spits out? Or is it just like, this is what it gave you and this is yours permanently?
We wanted to kind of just pay tribute to those old things that we used to get and collect from from the old department stores outside and grocery stores. So you gave us a good idea there. So maybe we'll
not a bad idea. Maybe I'm actually gonna write that down.
If that goes in, and I don't want to get into the Kickstarter rewards just yet, but if that does go in, my visage is going on that somewhere because that's the reward I like.
That's awesome.
Do like those little star references too, and it'll be like at the bottom, editor's note.
Yeah, exactly.
I love throwing stuff like that in there. So I saw the villain. The villain looks dope as shit. I'm telling you right now. We got a little bit of like Skeletor's face, kind of looks like. Definitely some Shredder going on there with the blades and the cape. And I noticed maybe even a little bit of Dr. Claw, that one hand that's like, it's got the claw on it, basically. Am I missing anybody else? Did any other villains get thrown in there?
Yeah, you know what? You actually are, and that's fine. We're gonna do like a little contest, probably around the 2-week mark of the Kickstarter, to maybe give away a copy or some other copies of the other DFAT Comics library. But we want people to see how many references they can get out of that character. So you do have a lot, but there's some more in there that we're kind of holding for a minute here.
Okay, you've given me something to look for then. Yeah. And everybody out there in Pete's Basement Land, you guys better look too.
Exactly.
So what is the villain's name?
Chris?
I'm allowed to know?
Yes, you do. We can reveal that, of course. His name is Skelpator. And so we derived that name from the villains of the toy world in the real life, are those scalpers. And those heinous beings who create the bots and send them onto the websites to drain the inventory. So it's not a super original name. Oh, there goes one of my toys. Not a super original name, but we thought that to pay that kind of tribute to not tribute, but to name it after the big bad of toy hunting would be appropriate.
Originality is not the case here. They are the most evil and heinous beings running around. I just got finished fighting with them this week. I don't know if you guys were watching Hasbro PulseCon over the weekend.
We were. Yeah, we're there.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to get them Target figures, man. I wanted Firefly and Viper, and I'm like, reload, nothing yet. Reload, nothing yet. Reload, sold out. What the fuck?
I had that Ecto 1 in my cart, and somebody called me, and I lost it. I was so distraught.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's rough. So, yeah, this big bad, the overarching villain is definitely one of those love to hate, and we'll see if people dig him as much as they dig the heroes of the comic. But yeah,
usually I find people dig the villains more. I was the guy rooting for Shredder for sure. He had the better outfit. I mean, you can't mess with a guy with silver blades and purple. That's an amazing color scheme.
That's it. Uncle Phil, he wore it well.
Uncle Phil, man. Right. Followed Uncle Phil. So you guys sound like nerds of the highest caliber. We can smell our own, even though this is digital and you're not actually in front of me. What was like? I can't say what was your favorite because that's just too hard a question. But what was like your top 3 cartoons growing up? Because we all have a lot of them that we loved.
I'll start. So my earliest memories are Masters Universe. It's funny because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I think I'm a bigger Masters Universe fan to a certain extent because that's what I remember at the youngest stage of my life, sitting in front of like the old boob tube and just watching that show. And it's funny because it just seems like so much nostalgia and so much has come out of that series, and it's so alive today. And I've been doing a recent rewatch of the whole series, and it's funny that it's held its reign over 80s cartoons. But other than that, I would say for me, Batman the Animated Series, as I was getting a little bit older, was very influential for me. And one other one, I don't know. I was thinking about Captain N and the Game Master the other day. Yes. Shared universes, it's like all this stuff keeps coming back up, and my wife never really watched a lot of them, so I'm just like, we're going to watch all this stuff.
If this is going to work, you have to understand where I'm coming from. Right. Casey, what about you, man?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, and He-Man, for sure.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm with you on 2 of those. He-Man was definitely my favorite cartoon. G.I. Joe is a very, very close second, and definitely my favorite toy line for sure. And the third one, I'm really hard pressed, but man, Captain N was up there. I know I lost my shit in the latter episodes when Link and Zelda showed up, and it was the same voices as was on the Mario cartoon on Fridays. Yeah. So that was just a wonderful experience for me. Sectars was also big for me, and that never really made it past those 5-episode pilots, and I wish it did because it was such a grand mythos that I would have loved to see explored, but unfortunately never happened.
Someday, though, you may. Who knows? Who knows?
They just made new figures. They made like little 3.5-inch figures.
Exactly. We don't know like what those guys have cooked up because a lot of them running things now are our age, and they're the ones holding the power. So we saw Mask cut like a comic book last year, and Mask is going to be getting a whole huge revival in 2021. They pushed it back, with COVID this year, but like that was another one of my favorite shows because it was like G.I. Joe with Transformers combined. It was Mask, so I love that. It makes
perfect sense. I know Hasbro's been shooting for this, like like the Marvel money. They want
shared
that
universe
shit. So if you've got G.I. Joe, let's say giant transforming robots come out of the sky, who are you going to call to fight them? But the world's most elite fighting force. And then you capture a couple of dead Decepticons and you turn them Joe vehicles into Mask vehicles. It writes itself.
I think you just did.
I've been saying this on the basement left and right. And I know somebody at Hasbro has had to have seen it at some point. Some lowly intern or someone was like, hey, listen to this dipshit. That's an idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a question. Now, these guys got this robot running around, Arwen. Now, I'm very excited to see a sassy robot because I always like, just a sarcastic robot. I'm a big fan of Bender and others running around whose name is, the other references escape me at the moment. But Arwen, obviously named after Arwen from Lord of the Rings, unless I'm wrong there.
It's a mix, right? So it was R1 D2 or something like that because I couldn't think of anything fun. And then I was like, oh, well, we're also there's tons of geek references, let alone the toy references. So Arwen from Lord of the Rings, like my cat's name is Gandalf. Like I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan too. So yeah, that was Arwen's kind of choice with that. And then she originally I said R2D2 meets Claptrap from Borderlands. There was maybe something in there too, Chris. Or am I wrong? Or was that the reference? Those two combined.
All of those are perfect references.
I got to tell you, I really like the idea that Arwen is R1 spelled out.
Yeah,
they turned that around in one of the New 52 or maybe the whatever continuity came after that in DC when they made Bizarro Experiment B0, and I was like, okay, that's clever. I like that.
That is clever. I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'm hard pressed to tell you which one of DC's many continuities it was, but
Probably Rebirth. But yeah,
it was like Lex Luthor experimenting with a lock of Superman's hair, and I was like, okay, this is good. So now my question is like, okay, these people are coming into the toy store, the comic store. Do they know about Arwen, or is she a secret? Like, because I mean, AI running around might catch some attention.
Chris?
No. She is definitely an employee of the collectible store, and so it's just robots seem to exist in society, and nobody thinks twice about it. So she's there. She's been programmed by her geekly overlords, Chris and Casey, to have all the geek knowledge in the verse. So you'll see her dropping many geeky references in terms of what we're talking about, and sometimes very out of place, awkward, and sometimes we're just gonna shake our heads and be like, "No, Arwen, it's let's get back to task." But no, it's our love of droids and all things robot like from science fiction, and everybody needs a good droid.
I fully agree. I mean, I remember when Robo Sapien came out like mad years ago. And I just wanted to get him. So I was in college at the time. Like, can I get this guy to just go get me a beer out of the fridge? You're right. Everybody needs a droid. Now I have to ask you 2 questions based on that. Is Arwen the only robot running around, or are people like pretty accepting of like there's robots running around?
I would think so. In the regular world on our Earth, I would say that's pretty extraordinary that we program this robot. Visiting the different toy worlds that we go to, if we're not going to say Transformers world because we don't want to get sued, but when you go to the robot world that they visit, then that's just, I can only imagine the adventures that she gets into there, because we're going to be looked as, the servants, and you know what I mean? Like, why are you with these, flesh companions? so yeah,
meat bags.
Meat bags. Yeah. We'll get into like a lot of adventures that way. So it just depends on the world that she visits. And, she's very, very sassy.
And that's my next question, as a matter of fact. And I'm sorry if I'm putting any of you on the spot for this, and if it gets you in trouble with anybody, I'm sorry ahead of time. You can blame me. Is her personality based on anyone that you know? Well, you can plead the 5th. That's cool.
No, she's not. She's more. Well, I don't know what your wife. Is that what you're gonna say?
No. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let you answer that one.
Okay. Yeah.
So he can blame you.
Yeah. So
we only have each other to blame. That's it.
Yeah. Chris and I have, we've known each other for almost 30 years. So, we're like brothers, and so I've known his wife for as long as he has, and vice versa. So, no, they're not our wives or anyone that I think that we can really know, but, and she holds her own. So she's not just there to pick up their toy junk. She's there as a full member of the team. And I'm, just like Ratchet and Clank. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, video game fan, and Clank's just as important to Ratchet and vice versa. So we'll definitely be leaning on her as we traverse through the galaxies.
Awesome. So now this is DFAT Comics. Don't forget a towel. First of all, before I get into the other comics in your lineup, how'd you come up with that name?
I'm a huge Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan.
Okay.
And a lot of people ask Towley from South Park. And at the time we made this, it was 8 years ago that we created the website. It was a little bit bigger, South Park, so I could understand. But no, like in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they say the most important thing for the hitchhikers is a towel, because you can use it for everything. So my thought process was like, you take this website with you wherever you go as you're traveling your own galaxy.
I confess my ignorance. I've only ever seen the movie. I never read the books. And I know there's a few people out there in the internet world who are like,
No.
Blasphemy.
It's perfectly fine. You'll get around to it. Check out the audiobook.
I'm real big on audiobooks, man.
Yeah, there you go.
I am. And YouTube's got a lot of them for free, so it's pretty great.
Yeah.
So what other comics do you have in the DFAT Comics lineup?
Chris, you can take this one. You're wearing one of them.
I am. So this is, I'll see. This is in Fairy. So I'll start from the beginning, actually. So the first comic that was released under the DFAT comic imprint was Hollowed, and Casey can speak a little bit about Hollowed. So he and Darius Johnson, they did work on that one, and now they actually have put out 2 issues through Kickstarter. So this is actually our 4th Kickstarter and 3rd title. The second title was a collaboration between Casey and our friend Ruben Romero, who is the author of The Agency and a good friend of the website, also part of our Star Wars Roundtable podcast. So, yeah, Casey, why don't you divulge some details about the other books?
Yeah, Hollowed was a movie script that I wrote in college and didn't do anything with it. And I met my artist, Darius Johnson, in Buffalo. And I live in Rochester, so we're not too far away from you. But Chris actually lived down in the city for a decade, right? A little over a decade. Yeah, so that one's about 2 detectives who chase down a serial killer that hollows out its victims. So not family friendly. Yeah, the other comics are not family friendly, but
not for nothing. I watch mad detective shows on ID Discovery, and the way people kill people, it's heinous. So that might have even happened. That's crazy.
It could have, but I will say it's got more. That's the base story, and then it starts getting a little bit more action and a little bit more sci-fi without giving too much away. And then in Fairies, straight up, is about these 3 Quantico students and their professor. They're globetrotting, trying to take down mythological creatures from all sorts of folklore. American, we got Japanese folklore, we've got Norse gods and goddesses, like all sorts of different real monsters from around the world. So a little bit of we call it like a Buffy meets Sopranos, because it's got a bit of a gangster vibe, mobster vibe to it as well.
That sounds right up my alley, I'll be honest with you, because I love any story that does research on actual mythology is already awesome to me. And I mean, just the idea of hunting monsters that based in mythology, that's dope. I'll be honest with you though, bro, I thought it was a Harry Potter shirt. Because, the Inferi from the 6th one when they was fighting the zombies. But even better, it's not. It's one of your. So you guys got T-shirts and everything running around. Like you got a whole line of merch and stuff.
We've got some. I don't have it with me, but I have pint glasses and we've got stickers and posters and all sorts of stuff too. Yeah.
So let's go into the Kickstarter rewards. Let's jump from that now. Is there one of the rewards that not only can I get Pursuit of Plastic, but can I get some of the other stuff in the DFAT lineup as well? Is that one of the rewards?
Absolutely. So that's one of the best parts about having at this time a library, a smaller library behind us, but nonetheless, saying this is the 4th Kickstarter from DFAT Comics, and Casey's very, very hardworking guy and puts out, gets the rewards out and gets the books published and in the hands of the backers. So I'm part of the company, but I can still say that I would have a lot of confidence in somebody like that. And so the greatest thing about that is having these books, first off, being able to have digital tiers, because not everybody reads physical comics, and it's also the easiest way to fulfill too, and it's
cheapest way too.
Mm-hmm.
Cheapest,
can't afford it
in your hands, everything. So at $4 you get our digital tier, and you can that'll get you a look at what we do, and then look at the tiers we're giving out. Parts of them have the digitals from Hollowed 1 and 2 and Inferior 1. Plus Pursuit of Plastic, then also the physical ones. We have a retailer tier, so we're trying to work on that, because with the failure of Diamond to get comics out earlier this year when COVID started and that whole fiasco, it was just like these comic book stores were put on hold, and it was a rough business. And so we're hoping that, a lot of people start to recognize that direct sales and working with indie, companies is the way to go. And hopefully people see that. And other than that, the t-shirt tier is always there for us, and they're high quality t-shirts. They look great, and they don't shrink, and they're comfortable. So I will say that I wear them on a regular basis, as you can see. And I do wash them. I did wash this.
I wear my own on a regular basis too. Just like running around. Hey, it's free advertising.
Exactly.
I'm going to be honest with you. I glossed over a lot of the early Kickstarters because anytime that I do a Kickstarter interview, which I've done a lot of them recently, and I always enjoy it because the Pete's Basement Show has always prided itself on being a fan and a friend to the indie publisher, the indie creator. So we know, it's 13 years we've been doing it. So I always look forward to Kickstarter interviews because the energy behind them is so much fun. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this interview. But I glossed over the Kickstarter rewards until I find the one that I'm always looking for. There's always a way for me to get my charming visage in this book. And that's always the one. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. But not only you guys stepped the game up, I got to say that. Not only do you have the opportunity, which I think it was something like $75 or $80 to get my face in the book, to be a character in the book, but you went the extra mile, and I can get a action figure of myself. That's dope. I don't know which one I want, man.
Well, I'll say a couple of things, Pete. So Chris and I, we used to, in another life, go to New York Comic Con quite a bit. And we have seen you guys, and that's when we started following you. Probably, I don't know, 2013.
Thank you, and I apologize.
No. You know what it was? Because that place is a madhouse. So we probably met, and it was like a 2-second thing. But like since 2013, I think, or 2012, we were going to New York City Comic Con, and we would see you guys, and we were like, so we've been fans, honestly, of Pete's Basement since that time, since we made a physical connection with you guys. And just one of those things where, long time watcher, first time interviewee. So which is really, really fantastic that you brought us on here. So I will say this: if you pledge to get yourself a toy or a face, like if you pledge yourself to get a toy, we'll put your face in the comic. We will do that for you for being a long time, follower of you and what you guys do. I remember drinking with you guys and following all that. It's always been a really good time. So, we'll figure out a way to get you in there. That would be great. And if you can't do that tier because it is the times. They're tough,
no, I can. It's happening.
I was gonna say we'll get a character in there for you.
Oh no, it's definitely happening now. It's gonna happen.
But yeah, no, we really want to say thanks because we are fans as well. And we just appreciate that you even brought us on and had a chance to talk to you and your audience today. It means a lot.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you. And thanks for being fans for this many years. Dude, this sounds like a dope book. I'm telling you right now, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm figuring there's going to be a Kickstarter for each of the issues going along.
Yeah. We'll do, there was a different way to doing it, pre-COVID, where we thought like, let's go to a bunch of cons and start funding things that way, reaching out to shops and doing it, direct business, still doing a Kickstarter it's good to get your face out there and, to meet people that way because it reaches the entire world that way instead of New York State or where Chris is in California. But, for now, we'll keep doing the Kickstarter route. It's been good to us. Yeah. So I don't see any reason. I mean, if Scott Snyder and Keanu Reeves can do it, we can do it here at DFAT.
Really? And might I add, I mean, it's always nice to look at a Kickstarter and see even when the top tier stuff is affordable. That's really helpful. Also, with the fact that nobody is going to cons these days, there's a lot more money being thrown around in the digital market. And that's just something I've noticed from being on eBay and other sales sites, just because I'm a nerd. I'm buying comics. I may not be at conventions, but I'm still buying comics.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it takes, like other indie creators and other people like you who are still reaching an audience, and you kind of realize that, there's a place for us, right? There's a place for us geeks out there, even if right now it's in the digital realm. But, every time you get a new subscriber, you get a new watcher and comment and stuff like that, you go, this is why we're doing it. And, for us doing this Kickstarter was, let's not do super high. Let's not ask for $12,000 or something insane like that. Like, let's keep it reasonable for people to dig into it. And again, since it's something for everybody, we're hoping that we get the kids or teenagers and we get their parents who, like us, have all these toys around us and are like, hey, you should be watching this. So let's hope, we can kind of all work together as geeks and independents, to kind of say, hey, there is something good out there, and let's try to connect to people in a different way.
I think you're gonna hit those feelings with a few fans out there like me who remember growing up on comics and cartoons, especially cartoons, because cartoons were my first foray into superheroes of any sort, and then I discovered comics. I mean, I was watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and Incredible Hulk, and it wasn't until way later on, you talk about, like, let's say kindergarten, first grade, jump to fifth grade, and I'm like, oh shit, there's comics about Spider-Man? What's this? I can continue these adventures? So honestly, I think you guys are going to have a lot of success with this, and I wish you nothing but success with this. I'm already excited for it. And I can promise you that by the time this hits YouTube, the Pete's Basement Show, myself, will have already kicked in on this. And once I tell the boys about it, I'm sure they're going to want to individually get in on it as well. And I hope everybody out there in Pete's Basement land enjoys this. And I hope that they want to kick in on it also.
That would mean,
you guys, I actually have one more question before we conclude, and before I ask you guys if you guys want to add anything. But one more question. We brought it up briefly when, like, I said sectars for a second there, but like there was mad 80s cartoons that just never really saw the spotlight,
Yeah.
And we all watched them for the most part. We all are aware of them. But to the best of your recollection, do you have a favorite unsung hero, like, of the 80s cartoons?
Man, like a one that didn't
get show that you loved but just never got the hype.
I got it. And actually, it's funny because my daughter, she's like 1. She picked up the DVD today, so I was a big Shirt Tales fan.
Shirt Tales.
And so my cousin got me the full series. It was a DVD or Blu-ray of the whole thing, and she was messing around with the entertainment system today, and she pulled it out of there, and I was like, oh man, I got to watch that. So, and I actually have toys. I've got like a puzzle, like a Shrinky Dinks thing, so anytime I go to a con, there's certain things, we're all toy hunting, right? Or comic book hunting. There's certain things that you want to try to find. So for me, it's Shirt Tales and Dino Riders.
Dino Riders was a dope line.
Yeah.
I never had no toys of that because, like,
I'll show you some pictures, man. Yeah.
Oh man, I love them. Those were some awesome figures and toys. Chris, what about you,
I show my nephews those. I show my nephews the Dino Rider series and everything because they love dinosaurs. I was like, you have no idea what you missed out on growing up. For me, I'm trying to remember, man. I remember so many 90s cartoons, and that's the problem where I'm trying to, I mix them in. I mean, I'm like, I think like Skeleton Warriors, and I realized I was 14 when that came out. I'm still watching it. So, Real Ghostbusters was huge, so I can't even say that didn't do well.
There was the other Ghostbusters cartoon.
Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Fuck Dungeons and Dragons, yo. Like, that was me. My dad never watched cartoons ever. Like this, I'm sure he did when he was younger, but never when he was older. That was the one cartoon he watched with me every Saturday morning, like clockwork. And he was always pissed that them kids never got home. and that
It's
last
so
episode
good.
never got
Never.
filmed.
Yeah. They have a bunch of stuff now at I want to say it's Hot Topic or one of those. They started putting out the clothes from it, like with the Dungeon Master, like that creepy looking dude. Yeah, like the whole thing. So there is a line
I jumped
out
on
there.
80stees.com when they got the D&D license, and I mean they're pricey, so you just gotta wait for like a you gotta wait for a discount, basically. Holiday discount, and you can get a normal price T-shirt from them, and you feel like you're making out on the deal.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah,
D&D was one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Thundercats and Silverhawks were popular, but not to the fact where they've gotten any respect lately. I mean, Thundercats got that great anime, which didn't last long enough. But
then there was
these in a world where nostalgia for these shows is so popular. Yeah. I don't even. We don't even. Talk about that. It's sad.
Terrible. I'm going to mention one that I don't know how many people have heard this, but you guys being the nerds that you are, I'm going to have to test the waters here. I mean, obviously, Sectars was great. Jason the Wheeled Warriors is another one that they had awesome toys and stuff. So that did get a little play. I think that went maybe 2 seasons. Maybe. I'm not sure. But there was one series that went 5 episodes only. It was the same animation studio, I want to say, because it looked the same as The Legend of Zelda. And the voices and the art was all very similar. Vitor the Starfire Champion. You remember that one, Chris? I see you shaking your head. You're like,
I remember the name Vitor, but that's it. That's pretty much all I can really think about. I don't know.
I was like on cloud 9 when I found a collector's DVD of that. I was like, holy shit, I have to order this right now.
I'm gonna have
very
to look
obscure.
This up.
You gotta Google that one. But when you see it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that looks like Legend of Zelda.
Wow, you got us. We're gonna add that whole world.
Please do.
Just for you.
That's 2 things I've helped with today. I've done my part. Actually, I want to ask you one other thing. Your artist, tell us about him and what it's like to see Pursuit of Plastic brought to life.
Yeah, so we've actually been working on this project for a couple years because we had another artist before, which we did like, but through the year, like last couple of years, we just couldn't get it to work. There was like a lost in translation sort of thing. So found RJ on Instagram, and his artwork was very reminiscent of Ren and Stimpy and just Saturday morning cartoons. The colors are all super bright, and the just the faces look like cartoons, not like a typical comic book. And that's it, right? Like he was like, hey, can I kind of retweak some of the stuff that the other guy worked on? And his Scalpator compared to the other one is like night and day. It's just like, wow, this is he literally is like so excited about the project as well. Like he drew more than he should have, which is good because it gives us stretch goals to like throw out some of this stuff. But like, yeah, he's really excited about it, and I think it got us even more excited about the project and going, okay, this Kickstarter is going to be banging because he's super fired up. He's just blazing through pages and already into issue 2 pages, and he's a great guy. So RJ Silvers, if you look him up on Instagram, his style is exactly what we've been talking about for the last hour. It's definitely playing in the backyard, taking that G.I. Joe figure until it snaps and mashing up, Barbies with G.I. Joe meets Transformers. Like that's what that guy's whole, look at the cover of this comic and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
I mean, just from the preview pages that you have on Kickstarter, it looks fantastic. The artwork is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing this book when it comes out. Guys, I wish you nothing but the best. This has been an awesome interview. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for doing this, man. Like this is truly a love song to every kid that grew up in the 80s, man. I can't wait for this Kickstarter to finish and for these books to start rolling out.
We can't either. And yeah, again, like I said, we've been fans for a long time, so really appreciate you having us on, and we thank you very much, man.
You know what? When after this one is successful, because I'm promising you, I think it will be. I'm looking forward to the second, third, however many issues this takes, and you guys got a spot waiting for you on the Peach Basement show whenever you throw it. But next Kickstarter, you got a fan for life on this one, man. Thanks for coming on, gentlemen.
Thank you very, very much.
You guys out there in Peach Basement Land, head over to Kickstarter, search Pursuit of Plastic. It's popping up on the screen right now. Kick in if you can. Go follow these gentlemen on Instagram. Gentlemen, tell us where we can follow you on social media. There's so many of them now. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those.
You can find us at don'tforgetatowel.com. So that's our website. It is also the landing page for DFAT Comics and also our podcast network. So Casey and I do a geekly news show called Towel I Talk, and that's actually where Pursuit of Plastic lives on the internet. We do a little segment during each episode, and we cover toy news. And on social medias, don't forget a towel one at Facebook, and DFAT Towel, DFATOWEL on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Go follow them. Go on the Kickstarter. Kick in if you can. And gentlemen, we'll hope to see you soon. I cannot wait to review this book on the Basement Show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us. Salud.
Peach Basement is copyrighted 2020. Ripped Productions. All rights reserved. So go fuck yourself.
They're popping up on the picture right there. Let's try that once more.